Invading Israel militarily is the final step if Israel does not.
Ooh, watch the language. You're getting close there.
The final step? Oh, okay. Oh, jeez.
You're getting close there, Hasan. Careful now.
The final what now?
The final step. Careful now.
Comply, but it's not going to happen anyway.
And Senator, when you hear the Israeli Prime Minister saying there's no starvation happening in Gaza, what, do you believe he's lying?
Of course he's.
Well, they're macro liberal, okay? He never said final solution, okay? He said final step. It's clearly different. See?
Lying. He is a disgusting liar. Israel had a right to defend itself in the terrible Hamas attack.
Uh-oh.
Look, bro, this is why. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Look at the reaction.
Uh-oh, weren't you defending Bernie? Weren't you defending Bernie during that NPR interview? Uh-oh, what is he gonna say now?
Action.
He's lying.
What is he gonna say now, guys?
He is a disgusting liar.
Watch over here, watch.
Israel had a right to defend itself in the terrible Hamas attack.
Jesus.
Oh no.
But I think everybody understands that in the last
Someone do a wellness check on Hasan real quick, okay? Someone do a wellness check. He's not feeling too well.
2.5 years.
Bernard, shut up.
What we're seeing right now, I think, is rather kind of a fascinating.
Wait, isn't it crazy how much he's hating on, like, Bernie right now, calling him Bernard and everything? Like, isn't it crazy how much of a big difference this is between this and the NPR interview? Like, he is actually such a dishonest hack, right? Like, he's trying to appeal towards the Bernie bros during the NPR interview, but on the turn of a hat, he is now shitting on Bernie Sanders. Huh, makes you think, isn't it, grifter?
Moment because
Grifter.
I think there's like a confluence of things that make people like Hasan and like Mike from PA. I've seen Mike from PA take
Is the audio low? No, it's because my voice is down right now.
it to like really cartoonish levels of, I don't even know what to call it, like hubris, arrogance.
Wait, audio's low. Like overall audio? Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about like my speaking audio or whatever? Hers is low and Hutch and Hasan are loud. Oh, I got you.
I don't know what would be like a word for just massively putting the cart before the horse.
Okay. Better?
I saw Mike say like, we're going to throw anyone who did propaganda for this war in a gulag.
Or too soft.
We're coming for you. The tides have changed. Look at that Harry Enton poll on CNN. Everyone is coming over to our perspective. Everyone is joining us. You know, and they're doing these like really like unbelievably like cringy posts where it's like, if you didn't only speak up until now, you know, like shit like that. But I think what they're seeing is the public polling does demonstrate a pretty significant dip in support for Israelis among the American electorate and the Mamdani win. So they're taking these two things to mean that their movement is growing, but that's not what is happening, to be clear. It's true that people are moving away from Israel in terms of support. What is not true is that people are moving towards like
I see you.
One state solution, full right of return, military tribunals, you know, they're not doing that. They're not moving away from a position of like Israel didn't have a right to respond to October 7th. They're just coming to the conclusion that, I think the correct conclusion, that like what's happened so far or what's happened since October 7th has gone too far. It's just wildly disproportionate, and there's just way too much like wanton death and destruction. And people are getting tired of that. But they're mistaking that for finally they're joining us. They think like the normie median voter has become adjacent to like the Columbia protesters of last summer. And that is not what is happening.
Stop.
So in other words, he thinks He thinks like the median normie voter would be on board at this point with like invading Israel, right? Like
Definitely.
Itself and the terrible Hamas attack. But I think everybody understands that in the last 2.5 years,
Bernard, shut up. Stop. That's definitely
shut
getting
up,
clip chimped. Oh
stop.
no. I'm going to be clip chimped where I said if Israel refuses to abide by American sanctions, then they'll get invaded militarily. Really? Oh no. What will I do? I guess I'm being so anti-Semitic for saying that.
I mean, to be precise, you're just being stupid. Like
The solution to Israel's genocide.
oh, he's getting closer, guys.
Okay, so he said final step, and then he said solution in like the next sentence. Was that the next sentence?
The final steps
Final step.
a couple minutes ago, and now he's got to be really
Solution.
careful here.
Literally requires one phone call, and if the phone call doesn't work, then denying weapons transfers. If denying weapons transfers doesn't work,
no.
then sanctions package. And if the sanctions package doesn't work, then you
No, I don't think he's actually dog whistling. I don't think he's actually doing that. I'm just making fun of him right now. Like I don't think that Hasan is like unironically like trying to advocate for it. I just think that Hasan is just like being a fucking. We like memeing about how anti-Semitic he is. Okay, Jesus.
invade Israel militarily. This is just how it works, okay?
What is the precedent for this like particular like sequence of events here?
Every country.
And you said they control the media as well. Is that can you confirm for me? This is something that you've said that you know, they control the media. Could you confirm whether or not you said that, or
How is that analogous to like the current situation?
But especially important for our allies that require a steady flow of shipment. You can clip it, you can ship it, you can send it to your mama, you can send it to your daddy. For those who said for months, Hasan, you're a terrorist, you're a terrorist, you're a terrorist, you're an anti-Semite, you're an anti-Semite, you're an anti-Semite, you're an anti-Semite. A lot of those motherfuckers are quiet now because they know I was wrong.
no, not me. What the fuck? Who's quiet exactly? The only reason why like a lot of these motherfuckers are quiet at the moment is because they're focusing on other issues right now, right? Like, fuck me, dude. Like, you want people talking about you 24/7? I'm sorry, Hasan, but the world just simply does not revolve around you. That's where you're mistaken. Your downfall is your hubris.
Right, okay? So if they're still death.
Do you see what I mean? Do you guys see what I'm talking about? Like he's mistaking the Mamdani win and the slipping polls for Israel as like they're all joining me now. That's exactly what's happening here.
And he's so egotistical. He actually unironically thinks that the world revolves around him, right? Like he thinks that all of this means that the world revolves around him, and every single time he slips up, everyone makes like the current discourse about him, right? Or something like that. Well, the reality, Hasan, is that you're just screaming into the void and doing like fucking bullshit all day, and no one likes you. And not only that, you're like bad for politics. So it's like that is the reality of the situation. Like no one actually respects you as a supervillain. I think you are a supervillain, but not in the way that you think you are.
And then, you know,
You're like a supervillain by stupidity and hubris.
Mike took it to just absurd degrees. Mike was over here talking about like Israeli propagandists or we're gonna throw you up against the wall, bro. You can't stop what's coming, bro. Look at what Mamdani did, the Mamdani thing.
Yeah, when Mamdani went in NYC, I'm beginning to dislike Mamdani just simply by how many fucking lefties like love citing Mamdani as if he is like the next coming of Jesus Christ, in which Jesus Christ is coming inside of your mom's ass.
It's happening. We're coming after you. We're gonna punish you for your impure and immoral positions. And
Desperately looking for another thing to hold on to try to demand my deplatforming. Okay, I'll continue doing what I'm doing, and then I'll see you in the next 3 to 4 months.
We cannot continue to provide military aid to the extremist, racist Netanyahu government that is starving the children of Gaza.
I saw the Jordan Weissman take. Jordan Weissman, as Dems converge on agreement that Israel has been committing an atrocity, I do think there needs to be some reckoning among moderates, that while lots of ugly anti-Semitism burst from the left after October 7, the leftists were fundamentally more right about this war, about what this war would become. Then this person responds and says, did centrist Democrats not say up front that we needed a ceasefire ASAP? I feel like I did not remotely exclusively hear this from the left. What a way to massage the narrative. Yeah. Karine Jean-Pierre called calls for a ceasefire repugnant. ASAP.
6 days after October 7th? 6 days after October 7th, and people were calling for a ceasefire? How does it, like, it's fine, like, as new information, as the linear movement of time presses on and a situation changes,
Something
and it,
smells
and
good.
it continues and it grows into the, then you can like update your priors and come to a new kind of conclusion or whatever. But 6 days after October 7th,
Something has a good
and people
smell.
were pressing Karine Jean-Pierre
That's
about
me.
a ceasefire? In what universe does that make sense?
Get the out of here. ASAP my ass. It's so funny. And also, even this is wishy-washy bullshit. Oh,
Are you still of the opinion that the college protests had zero to do with opinion
How did I
turning against
die?
what Israel is doing? Maybe not zero, but like very low. Like you can just look at the polling. The way that those students were behaving themselves on the campus was extremely unpopular. So you tell me, like, what does that mean? Like, do you really think that they changed a lot of hearts and minds when they were overwhelmingly unpopular because they were doing crazy things like blocking Zionists from using the Quad or whatever?
ugly anti-Semitism burst from the left. The ugly anti-Semitism from the left was hurting people's feelings because we correctly said Israel's an apartheid state that is doing a genocide.
Really unfortunate timing that he posted this within 24 hours of Mike from PA's little snafu.
Okay. Yeah. Comical that centrist writers are writing off early leftist warnings of Israeli genocide as the boy who cried wolf, when our analysis was based on an analysis of Zionist political intentions that proved completely accurate. You guys were only right because your analysis of people perpetuating this war just so happened to line up with what they ended up doing. Yes, that is the point of analysis. You probably forgot it while you were wrong about everything for 20 years. It is insane. Benjamin Netanyahu said Amalek literally the day after. Yoav Gallant 2 days after said, we're fighting human animals. We have to shut off their food, their electricity, their water. Oh, wow. It takes a special breed of future seer to literally listen to what the Israeli state members were saying about what kind
Yeah, I can't imagine watching Hasan for the good vibes, dude. I can't imagine doing it, okay? You watch me for the good vibes, all right? Not Hasan.
of war effort that they were going to conduct.
Jesus.
Oh, wow. There it is. During an October 10th
Making rice
briefing,
presentation.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, who is uniquely bad at her job, literally called a
Just
ceasefire.
drink.
Progressive Congress members
A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Nuggets. Thank you so much. I appreciate the $10. Thank you. I appreciate that. Foodshops is definitely good vibes. Let me know when I'm bad vibes, okay? Let me know in private. Just don't be public about it, okay? Don't give my enemies ammunition. If you have any kind of streamer feedback, like genuine feedback, not just like, oh, I just want to contact you, blah, 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 blah. No. Actual feedback, yeah, let me know, okay? I got you. I'm receptive to criticism.
who call for a ceasefire in the Middle East disgraceful and repugnant.
Because it was 6 days after the worst terrorist attack in the country's history.
They're trying to
Will do.
launder their reputation.
That's why I can trust you guys.
And it's like, dude, delete your tweets first. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Except you can't delete this. It's so stupid. Matt Iglesias, another demon. I'm just deeply reluctant to credit the critics for being right, in air quotes, about this. They at every turn took concrete political actions that made the worst case outcomes more rather than less likely. Matt Iglesias is deeply reluctant to credit those of us who understood on day one that Israel was waging a war of extermination as right. It's so funny that these dipshits are trying to do the, oh, well, I guess we were wrong about the Iraq war while it's literally happening and everyone can see it as being fraudulent. Dude, you have to wait. You have to.
God, he's just like, I'm sorry. It's just like how the fuck do you watch this like fucking behemoth of a man, this sexy man who is totally not turning me on. No, I'm kidding. He's just like, oh God, how do you even begin to watch this guy? Jesus.
Wait like a couple years before you whitewash and launder your reputation. It's still going on. It doesn't make sense to try and spin on the one hand while on the other hand
Ratmansion? Spin!
You're still trying to defend your lack of
Spin.
interest in stopping
Spin.
the bloodshed. Who believes this? The appropriate thing to say is, and here is God's honest truth, the appropriate thing to say in this circumstance is, we were wrong, the left was right. A critical examination of why we were wrong and the left was right is necessary so that we don't repeat this mistake again. They won't do it because they're in power. I remember when you decided to change your mind about
Lest we forget, Hasan was asked point blank by Ethan on their podcast, what do you think Israel should have done in response to October 7th? And Hasan's answer was Israel should dissolve its own government and just like hand over their military.
Hutch is shitting on my boy Kyle recently. Why do you watch all of these people that you don't agree with and know before you say, oh, I like taking in, well, you're not really engaging with like much, right? Are you? Listen, David, I love you. I love you as much as I love another viewer. But you know, I've always been confused by people who are like clearly like Hasan fans or Asmongold fans who are watching me, but they don't really engage with what I'm saying, or they're like it's like they're trying to find things that make them mad on purpose. I don't fucking know. It's just weird. It's just strange. But you know, what you do you. Yeah. Please don't tell me, oh, it's because it's so that I can get a variety of opinions. Stop. That's a virtue signal. That's not even true.
Oh, no, I am not going to say at this point that Hasan was right about this situation.
the Iraq war, but why do you think this keeps happening to you? It's because they're careerists, okay? For many of them, it's just about being a careerist because they know they'll never be punished. Actually, they'll be elevated for being wrong. They're deliberately wrong. They're deliberately obtuse. They're inhumane, amoral monsters, okay? All of them. And I said this on October 8th, and I said this on October 9th, 2023, and
like it's very clear to me. It's very clear to me that Hasan didn't have this tone when it came to the NPR interview, right? Like I can't be the only one that realizes that Hasan is just so disingenuous, right? When it comes to his representation of himself.
and I continue to say it.
Like he's mask on in the NPR interview. He's mask on even here, right? Because he has some other beliefs, I'm sure, that he's hiding from his, even on his own stream, right? I don't think he's being even the most honest here. I think that if we were to take Hasan at his most honest, it would be too extreme to handle. Yeah. I like Kyle otherwise, but it's taking up all the air, unfortunately. No, oh, dude, Kyle, I'm sorry. It's just, as much as I like him for hating on, as much as I like Kyle for hating on Trump and MAGA crowd, whenever he talks about Israel and Palestine, it is miss after miss after miss after miss after miss after miss after miss. He keeps on missing. When it comes to Israel versus Palestine, I don't know. I just cannot get on board with it. Okay, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Go back and watch any of the videos that I have from back then that people love clipping out of context to talk about how passionate I was and how wrong.
Also, how the fuck do you watch Hasan when he bitches this much? God, if there's anything that you like about Hasan, can you just at least admit that he's such a bitch? Like, he is actually the most feminine coded, masculine, like fucking overcompensator I have ever seen in my life. Like, he is actually a fucking ball, a trapezoid of insecurity. He is shaped like a trapezoid, and he literally looks like a fucking product of degenerate breeding to have the worst takes possible. It's like if someone tried to have like the worst fucking possible worst fucking possible insecurities roped up into one insecure little fucking trapezoid. Okay, that is Hasan. God, just look at him, like sitting in the corner right here, fucking zoomed in, a little bit. Oh God, he's just such a putrid creature. How could you ever bear like looking at him? He's just, he's such a disgusting, putrid, fucking protein guzzling buffoon. Oh my God. Protein is just about like not the only thing he's guzzling. He's also guzzling Hamas dick, you know?
I think
Jesus.
most reasonable, educated people knew that Netanyahu's response was going to be extreme. I think most people understood this to be the case. Most people understood that, but that doesn't mean that Hasan's position of Israel should have dissolved its own government has any basis in reality.
I was for demonstrating such passion, and you will see that anger was perfectly.
He said, dissolve the apartheid. What do you think that means, Olive? I'm just curious. What do you think that means?
Oh, olive. Oh no, that's not the same
Yes.
olive. Okay. I thought that
Actually,
was
he said,
olive.
no, hang on a second. He said, dissolve the apartheid state or something like that. What do you think that means? Let me translate it for you. He's talking about a one-state solution. That's what he's talking about. One-state solution, full right of return, which would mean like
Cow has a, yeah, I mean, it's a thought terminating cliche to refer to it as a genocide straight up and expecting the conversation to continue. I think that is one of the biggest delusions of all, is that you expect to call it a genocide and then you expect to continue the conversation. There is no more conversation after you call it a genocide. That's why you have to be very careful about calling it a genocide in the first place, right? Might give you pause to think.
end of the current Israeli government, like that government would be dissolved and it would look like something completely different. That's what he's talking about. So we're kind of, it's like apples and oranges here, guys. Or it's like we're splitting hairs here. It amounts to the same thing. Like I'm just condensing what he said.
Warranted. I was right then and I'm right now, and so are many of you who maybe initially thought it's a bridge too far how quickly Hasan is defending Palestinians here. I mean, October 7 just happened, but at least you have the decency.
You were defending Hamas, to be clear. You were defending Hamas, to be clear.
Here's a question. What do you think should happen to the Palestinians living in Israel-controlled lands? I think that there should be two states. It's as simple as that. Yeah. I don't think you should like stand for living in a country where they don't give you representative rights, but I ideally would want a two-state solution where they would have their own representative rights in their own lands. That's fine. I think that's fine. Whatever, who cares?
You said they were
But for the record, I just want to say the Palestinians living in Israel right now are safe. They're safe. They are. They're safe. They're safe from Hamas.
perfect resistance, which call it what you will, but that is a defense. So
To sit there quietly.
No one ever talks about how much Hamas kills Palestinians, okay? And I'm sick of people not acknowledging that it happens. It happens all the time.
Listen, learn, and change your position as the environment changes. Anti-Semitism in the U.S. rages while college protests intensify. Now, police detaining anti-Israel protesters. Worst case scenario, watchdog agency says. Student activism over Gaza. Admirable or ill-informed? Gazans are dying of starvation. One day, everyone will have been against this. Yeah, I didn't shy away from saying.
I think most of us were against this, right? Like you could find some ultra pro-Israel.
Israel is putting up LeBron numbers. Dude, if Israel is putting up LeBron numbers, you have no idea about the amount of misery that Hamas has caused, okay? Trust me.
Folks who were saying some really
We're not even talking about the downstream effects of Hamas being in power for like 2 decades and not preventing another election, right? We're not even talking about the amount of like deaths like from Hamas stealing like aid from the Palestinian people, right? Hamas storing food and aid in their tunnels while their civilians are getting bombarded. Good one.
extreme stuff. Like, they're not going
They're just so brave for that.
hard enough. And
Freedom fighters,
why should I care
certainly.
if, like young Palestinian kids are going to grow into like Hamas militants and so like there were some people saying that, but most people like, especially by like May when the college protests maybe started to kick off, right? Most people already were aware of the level of suffering that was happening, and probably like I would guess most people at that point opposed how far Israel had gone. But that doesn't mean that the student protesters themselves got a lot of sympathy or support from the general public. They did not, for good reason. It was a shit show.
The truth,
I don't know why I
even
did
one
that. My
iota,
bad.
since day one. I believed that people would inevitably realize the unavoidable reality. And
You know what they don't agree with you on, Hasan, is like denying the race. How about that? He's framing it as like,
that's crazy,
finally
isn't it?
everyone is seeing what I've been saying this whole time, just ignoring the f***ing substance of what he said. And he did say some crazy shit. throughout this conflict. I mean, we could put together like a 20-minute sizzle reel of just insane shit.
Thankfully, there were plenty of others who also recognized right from wrong and literally continued to protest and never shied away from keeping up the pressure, because all of that pressure amounted to the public sentiment shifting dramatically.
They're taking credit for it. That's amazing. They're taking credit for it. I present to you, my dear chat, that with a more organized, calculated, disciplined messaging campaign within their movement, they could have turned those, those numbers could have gone south for Israel way sooner than it happened. I think what people don't like seeing is like the images of like the starvation, like the mass starvation. And of course, like there were always images of the war that were really graphic and brutal and violent, but they are taking credit for this shift, which is pretty amazing. Like, why are you taking credit for this? You don't think it has to do with the fact that it's significantly escalated recently? Like the starvation crisis, the potential starvation crisis, which thankfully aid is getting back into the country. It's still not perfect or great, but thankfully, like, they're starting to get aid, and they think that they have enough food in there to make sure that there is no like starvation, like mass deaths. You don't think that had to do with it, rather than like your completely ineffective advocacy over the last 2 years?
Regardless of
You better hope I don't get killed by my landlord before then.
all of the legal criminal repercussions that people faced, all of the student activists on college campuses that made those college encampments and then got destroyed for it, had their diplomas taken away from them.
I certainly don't co-sign that.
Also, this is precisely the reason why I'm still understanding of people who at least recognize that they were wrong, no matter how far along they are, because there are still plenty of pieces of shit like Matt Iglesias who know better, but are doing it because they're careerists. I tweeted this earlier. I said, for those of you finally coming to terms with what Palestinians have been saying for years, I hope this is a time for self-reflection.
Oh my God, you guys. What I find so interesting, interesting is such a cop-out word, is he wrote this out, he pressed send, and he legitimately thinks that there's just like legions of people that see this tweet and think to themselves, my God, he's right. I should reflect. 99% of people that see a tweet that just reeks of such like self-importance, smugness,
I would rather not be in Texas right now.
So, like, spare me. For those of you finally coming to terms with what Palestinians have been saying for years, I hope this is a time for self-reflection. Go f yourself, bro. Have you reflected on the hundreds of insane shit you've said in the last 2 years?
Reflection. If not for careerist reasons, how could you have gotten something so heinous?
Have you ever reflected on your mom getting fucked in the ass by Hamas last night? Ooh, that hurt.
So wrong. Let this be a wake-up call and start the pressure immediately. It's so crazy to do this. What a clown ass this dip is. I think you're blurring issues. I agree with the protest taxes were often counterproductive.
He just said, I'm just deeply reluctant to credit the critics with being right about this. They at every turn took concrete political actions that made worst outcomes more rather than less likely. I mean, yeah. Look at what we have. Donald fucking Trump. Donald Trump gets elected, and then they do an 11-week blockade of aid. Where's your reflection?
Don't trip. Wow, you're on your way to your bed. Okay.
Are you reflecting on that?
Stumbling.
Are you fucking reflecting on that? I had that Froggy Tonic guy in my mentions. So, like, he was doing the same thing. I'm sure maybe he saw this like Hasan stream and was sort of like reflecting that. But he was like asking me, I was like, have you reflected? Have you reflected on your role in all this? My role in all this? What do you think I do? What role do you think I have? And what do you think I said? Like, what do you think I said? Do you think I co-signed mass starvation? You think I'm okay with that? And then I asked him, like, if you're going to tell me I need to reflect, like, who did you vote for in 2024? I'm just so curious. Who did you vote for? And then he responded by not answering the question. I was like, no, hang on. I need you to answer that question. Who did you vote for? And then he responded again by not answering the question. So I think it's pretty obvious that he did not vote for Kamala. So he can go f himself. Did you reflect on that decision? You're partly to blame for what's happening. Literally, you're partly to blame for what's happening right now. Like the escalating crisis over the aid stuff that got worse when Donald Trump was president.
Yep.
You are partly to blame for that. And you're telling me I need to fucking reflect on that?
productive. Why were they counterproductive? And they were wrong about the stakes in 2024. Why were they wrong? Someone needs to explain to me why those protests were counterproductive. That's why I don't understand what ContraPoints was talking about too when she was.
That's clear. You don't.
I will defend ContraPoints with my life. Okay, I'll do it. I'll defend whatever it takes to protect ContraPoints from this rabid group of mental retardation. Okay, this fucking vegetable market. Okay, this fucking ball of vegetables. All right, that we call the lefty sphere. Okay, bread tube or whatever's left of it. Okay, crumb tube. All right, I will protect my queen. Okay, you can protect Hamas.
Understand what you're talking about.
Like, you know, you're just making people angry. That's it. By showing what the Palestinians are screaming about. I mean, look at the environment.
They're screaming about how bad Hamas is. They are killed for protesting Hamas in the streets. Right now, there are Palestinians who are protesting against Hamas. You're not giving them any kind of airtime or attention, and you are going against other people. You're criticizing other people for not paying attention to Palestinians. You, the person who's been ignoring Palestinians the entire time. Huh. Okay. We all love a hypocrite, so.
Well, people were angry because you were like, they saw footage of you like literally physically blocking anyone that you deemed a Zionist from entering particular sections of a college university. And then even worse, like in UCLA, you saw kids that were like violently engaging with police officers, like not firing, but like spraying fire extinguishers at cops as they approach your encampment. Like, what did you? People saw that and they were
really?
like,
"Did that
stupid.
actually happen? Fuck me,
The
dude."
f do you mean the protests were wrong? If it wasn't for the protests, everyone would have shut the fuck up and lived along with their daily lives as the Holocaust kept being unfolded in front of everyone's eyes in broad daylight. What do you mean? What was wrong about the protest tactics? But I also think that in the first month of the war, the left had a better read on what was to come from Israel. What was wrong? What was wrong? No one likes it.
What was wrong? You tell me, bro. You tell me. Like, the polling was not even great with Democrats. This was in July or something. What was it? 4,000 registered voters. That's a pretty big sample size. Only 26% of Democrats.
Hasan is just so disgustingly entitled to attention as well. Like, he feels like the entire world has to pay attention to him, otherwise the world is going to fail or something, you know? God, he's just so entitled. He's just such a fucking rich Nepo kid crybaby. Like, fucking loser. Oh, God. Get him out.
Thought the student protesters are in the right and are
Listen, Trump has the opportunity right now to do something extremely, extremely funny to Hasan, okay? I'm just saying.
doing the right thing. 48% said they're in the
Trump, I will become MAGA for 5 minutes if you could just do this, okay?
right, but they're taking things too far. You only had 26% support for the campus protests, just full-throated support. You only had 26% with Democrats. It was even worse with independents.
I always think that Hasan has a very feminine energy, like an actual girly pop in a big boy body. The more insecure he is, the more he exudes feminine energy, okay? Alright. So he's actually incredibly feminine. He's like a fucking oversized, grotesque Barbie doll. Oh god. Such a disgusting putrid creature.
Only 18%. We don't even need to talk about Republicans, but you don't think that's worth like evaluating? You don't think it's worth like, whoops, we were gonna watch a video on Sydney Sweeney. I'm not gooning. And you don't think that that's like worthy of like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
They admit they were wrong, especially about one of the most awful catastrophes of the century. You're 2-2 with Palestine and Iraq, says Jacob Silverman, the Mad Iglesias. This is why it's important when you talk about E or D or Nazi mold. They were and are spreading bullshit defending Israel, among others. It isn't just drama. It's trying to show these idiots are wrong on what they spew. Yes, they are objectively wrong. Their politics.
He's always been feminine-like. Remember the nagging to Ludwig for covering his drama? That's a girl move, 100%. God, he's so insecure. Oh God.
Things are objectionable. They're repugnant,
So
but they're also
insecure.
Bernie, like, I
Yikes.
basically have the exact same opinion as Bernie. And I had the exact same opinion before he even stated his opinion. But there was a clip of him like 3 weeks ago, and somebody asked him about like, you know, how he felt about what was happening in Gaza. And he said that, you know, what happened on October 7th was a horrific atrocity. They murdered hundreds of civilians. They murdered babies. There was sexual violence. They kidnapped babies. They kidnapped 300 people. It was war crimes. And Israel had a right to retaliate when that happened, but they went too far. Like that's like the position. That's like the position. I feel like that is like the sensible position. Like obviously what Hamas did warranted an extreme reaction, quite frankly. If you're a country and some military force does that kind of an operation, they go and a military force goes into your borders and starts like that, specifically like that kind of violence, the kind of violence that we saw on October 7th was like, we're talking about any country has an obligation to its citizens to take actions to make sure that they don't have to be afraid of that kind of thing, right?
Right, yeah.
Any country, the citizens are going to expect.
I mean, it's like the, you know what this is? I figured it out, guys. I figured it out what this is. This is the Kyle Rittenhouse of geopolitics. Okay, it's the Kyle Rittenhouse of geopolitics. All right. Not only are they saying that Kyle must be taken down, okay, is that he shouldn't defend himself as well, okay? It's the Kyle Rittenhouse of discourse, okay? That's what this actually, it's just Kyle Rittenhouse all over again. It's literally Kyle Rittenhouse all over again. It's Kyle Rittenhouse too. All right, the original Kyle Rittenhouse discourse was so stupid that they made a Kyle Rittenhouse the sequel.
The country to use the military to make sure that attacks like that never ever happen again. Like that's just like a basic contract that people have with the government in the military. So Palestine can do that. I mean, look, what do you want? They tried, right? Like, is that what you think October 7th was? You know? Like, would you advise Palestinians? Would you advise Hamas to pick a fight with Israel? Would you advise that? Do you think that what they did on October 7th like worked out well? I mean, like, what do you? No, I would not advise that. Now, like, if you know, 1,000 Israelis like
no, not Ryle
paraglided into Gaza,
Kyle,
and you saw the kind of violence that we saw on October 7th. People, I'm sure the rest of the world would have been sympathetic to Palestinians. It would be a totally different dynamic, right? Like, obviously. But anyways, Bernie's position is like my exact position. I think it's like the only reasonable position.
Wrong. Who wants to be wrong all the time? This is what I don't understand. You'd rather be wrong in your hug box? It doesn't make any sense. The time should pay a price. They've been in jihad mode for a long.
Irishman, listen, buddy. All right, I should be composed right now. I would like to know your strategy for Palestinians considering they were being killed before October 7th for nothing. I asked you a question and you deflected to the question. I'm saying, like, do you think that in retrospect, Hamas's actions on October 7th like yielded good results? Like, what do you think the dynamic would be if no rockets ever flew from Gaza into Israel? If there was no like political movement to try to like kick Jewish people off the land, obviously we would not see the kind of military operation that played out in Gaza. Like, Israel would not have done that. The settler stuff, I fully agree with you there. It's crazy. Like and the blockade, like the 20-year blockade. Like, I agree with all that. Like, obviously, Netanyahu is a war criminal. But you're saying like they needed to fight back. It's like, I don't know if I disagree with you there, but do you think October 7th was the best way to do that? Do you really think that was like the best way to do that? After 75 years of Israel winning, they thought October 7th was the play.
No. See, what Hasan wants is a second October 7th, okay? Called October 8th. It's like the fucking Fast and Furious movies, okay? It just never fucking ends. All right? Like infinite amounts of raping, infinite amounts of death, okay? This is what Hasan wants. All right, this is what he wants, okay? It's just as simple as that.
Not politics brained at all. I think they obviously were.
What Hutch said just now, most people in Hasan's orbit won't agree with. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, it's just, again, you can't just, how the fuck is Pisco going to appeal to these kinds of people who just, like, absolutely refuse to listen to reason or any kind of, like, sanity, have any kind of, like, all they do is disavow, and if you don't fall in line, you're not one of us, you're one of them.